I'm Catherine Corcoran.
You had to think about that. I'm James H.
No, I was going to say something. We do 3 of these. At the end, it's not there.
You're still Catherine Corcoran.
I know. Listen.
Is she?
Is that, am I though? I mean. I'd run out of banter at this point in time. Breaking the fourth wall.
Our job is to banter, though.
But we're told to banter at the beginning of the episodes, like to warm everyone up. Our producer's laughing, and we tape 3 of these in one day, and I run out of things to banter with you with, James. I'm sorry, I love you, but I don't know what to banter with you about.
What about? God, I'm so fucking boring. The first thing my mind went to was like working out. Did you do any cool?
Did you do any cool workouts?
Do any cool reps lately,
are
dude?
You
any new PRs? Yeah, fuck, we suck. Let's just get to the episode because we're boring, insufferable.
But our guest is not. Welcome to Scream Dreams, the nightmares that shaped us, where we dive in with your favorite guests and horror creatives, genre creatives, to talk about their nightmares and what actually terrifies them. I'm Catherine Corcoran.
I'm James A. Janisse, and today we have Christine Elise.
Hello. Happy
Hi.
to be here.
We're so excited. We've been trying to get her on for a while.
Yeah, I couldn't do it before, but I can now.
You can now.
But and Barbara's not here.
I know.
I don't think she really exists. I think she's a cardboard cutout you guys bring everywhere. She's everywhere, and she knows everybody I know.
Yeah.
And I've never met her.
No
really?
shit. You've never met her?
No, it's really weird.
That's so
So
weird.
I sent her a direct message yesterday. I said, "You're not going to be at the fucking podcast." But a little Liam Neeson, but I will find you. So,
That's bizarre because both of you do so many conventions.
yeah.
And you've never done one together?
No, I guess not. Or maybe I don't know.
I mean, they get busy sometimes, and it's like you don't get to meet the other guests. Yeah.
Or if they're spread out and you're in different rooms or something.
Mhm.
But it's just like there's this world with Nadia and Spider One. Spider's a friend of mine from real life from back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And to see like him with my brain is just like people from different worlds together, and I don't connect them, but there they are connected. And Barbara's always in the room.
Yeah.
Nadia and Barbara are everywhere.
Nadia and Barbara, that's true. They are everywhere.
Everywhere.
I joke. I've become like the fill-in for Nadia when she's too busy. Spencer's like, buddy, you want to go to this thing with
Yeah, you're next. You're the 3rd most popular girl out there.
I'll take it. I don't know about that, but I will take it. I'm brand new to LA. I just think you guys are all so amazing, and like you invited me. You let me come to your house on New Year's Day. That was amazing.
Oh yeah.
You were invited too.
You did invite Chelsea and I, but we had to go to the Rose Bowl and watch
Yeah.
University of Michigan win.
That sounds
Well, I had
horrible.
the worst hangover of my
Sounds
life.
horrible.
I can't think of anything worse.
Dude, I was so hungover. It was miserable. But I made it through after forcing myself to throw up some of the sickness. It was awful.
Ew.
It was horrible.
Had you come to my house, you would have been served vegan Hoppin' John and
It was so
rice and
good.
collard greens for, your prosperity in the new year.
That's right. Yeah, because you're vegan, right?
She's also a vegan, like kind of a vegan chef. She had her own. You had your
The
own
word
recipe.
chef is so overstated. I just cook. Right? But yeah,
It was
But you
amazing.
cook well.
I can. It's not always. I fail too. So
It was amazing. Like I would have stayed there. I would have moved in.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. If she would have let me, it was delicious. And her neighbors are wonderful. And you have, we should, for those of you who don't know, and you should know, Christine Elise is an amazing actress, creative, just all around amazing human being, chef. We're throwing it out there.
cook.
Yeah.
But you also had this, what I was blown away by at your house was this incredible Marilyn Monroe collection, arguably one of the most like extensive I've seen in personal collections. How did you get started? Where did your Marilyn interest come
I've
from?
always had a fascination with her since high school. And I had a short-lived sort of eBay empire where I was selling really beautiful prints of classic Hollywood movie stars.
Oh.
And because my brain, when you think you want to buy a car and you pick whatever the car, and then you see that car everywhere all of a sudden. So when I had this movie star, my brain was I was nose deep in movie star, old school classic movie stars, 7 days a week, and selling stuff. And then inevitably collecting too. I would
Yeah.
spend a lot of money buying other people's cool things when.
And
So,
that's where Marilyn started.
I got some pretty cool stuff though. I've got an actual picture of her, and she was born in 26. It's a picture of her on the beach in 1928 with her mother. It's really.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what you
wow.
showed us, and you can't put it up because the sun will destroy it. It's like
yeah.
so.
I had a really cool Marilyn Monroe receipt from her hair salon that was in my bathroom, and I didn't think it was in direct sunlight, but it's faded almost to be invisible now. So.
And are you like a big fan of like her and her life? Do you like know a lot about her?
I do.
Or, okay.
I do. I think she's a incredibly underrated person. People don't understand her at all. Really a pioneer, way smarter than given credit for.
Yeah.
People always say, oh, she was back when women could be fat. She was not fucking fat. This is the craziest thing ever. This period is like when she was pregnant and some like it hot that she was chubbier than, but if you look at her, she was tiny.
Yeah.
And she was like broke out of the studio system and started her own production company, so she would have creative control of the movies that she did and stuff like that. So leaving Hollywood to go to study with Lee Strasberg in New York and try to be a serious actress and not just sort of a bubblehead.
Yeah.
Like sex symbol. Yeah.
And also one of my, I don't know if this is true or not, but in the book, My Week with Marilyn, and it's also, this, could not be true. And it's also in the movie. There's this moment, like she talks about playing a character, like openly about how Marilyn Monroe was a character. And and I don't know if this really happened or not, but I'd like to think in my head that it did. She turns to the protagonist in that film and says, do you want to see me become
Do you want to see
her?
her? Do you want to see her?
Yeah. And he didn't know what she meant. And this is in the book too. And he didn't know what she meant. And she rounded the corner and turned it on. And it was like two different people. I never knew.
I think that's true.
And it's really interesting that, you do a lot of conventions. We met at a convention because I shied away from them for a while. And I never really totally understood what she meant by that until I started doing the conventions and things like interviews and press and things where you realize like how you have to turn it on a little bit and like what that feels like. I never really got that until doing those. So I can see why you'd identify with her, because it's like, do you ever feel like you're having to put on, actually I don't see you ever putting on a character. That's BS. Knowing you, actually you are as authentic as it gets, I feel like.
I don't know, that's a flattering thing to say, but absolutely I have to turn it on at those things. I'm an introvert
Really?
Naturally, and so that's a very labor intensive environment to be in. Super
Do they
grateful.
exhaust you by the
They
end of
do,
the day?
but
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
I'm unbelievably grateful for them.
Oh, 100%.
I enjoy being at them, but they are really, really draining. It's draining because my goal for everybody that walks up to my table and has an interaction with me, my goal is that when they turn around and look at their friends, they go, that was so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want them to have that experience, and meanwhile, I'm going to answer the same question I've answered 5,000 times, and I have to answer it every single time like I've never been asked it before, because it's the first time they're ever asked the question. So I don't want to say, blow them off or be in any way not enthusiastic delivering the answer, and that's manufactured
Enthusiasm.
sincerity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say, like, when you're meeting these people at conventions, when you're on our side of it, it's like you're meeting hundreds of people sometimes, but for them, it's their one time meeting you. So you got to keep that in mind and just like make it special for them, or at least not make it suck.
I totally agree. I think it's your fucking job, and there are actors that don't do it and are not particularly accommodating and don't like to be touched and that kind of thing. I don't think you should be doing cons if that's how you feel.
Yeah. Someone said to me when I first started, it was Miko Hughes who said to me when I first started, he said, what I've come to realize is you are a mirror for the person who's coming up to you. Similar to when you're acting on camera, where you're kind of having to like put energy back to someone that is giving you energy. It is the same when you're doing a convention, because just like when we get excited when we see someone, we all have our fans. Like if you were to meet, if Marilyn Monroe still existed and you were to meet her, that would be that. And who are we to deny them of that experience? In fact, it's the antithesis of what we are as creatives. So that's all it is just to be that mirror for them.
Yeah.
So meet them with the energy that they're meeting you with.
Well, that's not entirely true though, because that's if they come at you with high energy, but a lot of people come at you with terrified or crying.
Oh, that's true.
And,
that's true.
and so
I
like a calming
you need to double up your,
So you're just, maybe mirror is
output.
the wrong thing. Maybe you're just reacting in the same way you would in a scene.
Yeah, well, it's just being
a human.
It's just being human, exactly. Yeah, it's just
real...
actually engaging with somebody.
Yeah.
Because even just in everyday life, I'll feel that I am a different kind of behavior depending on the people around me. And I often find that I'm kind of the contrast. So if I'm around a bunch of people who are like really high energy and like extroverted and out there, I'll take the quieter like role and just like be in the background. But if I'm with a bunch of people who are like quieter, I'll bring the energy and be the loud person. And I feel like sometimes meeting people, you gotta kind of do that. Like you said, if they're terrified, you just gotta be very calming and be like, hey, it's cool. How's it going?
Yeah. And I agree entirely what you just said about if there's a high energy person, then I take the opportunity to not have to deliver it. Yeah. And if they're not, then I'm the court jester, and that's also super. That's a lot of work for me. That takes a lot out of me doing that. So.
Well, I feel like for you, you give it off so effortlessly. I have to say, I remember when I first met you, and I'm serious. It was one of the most like impactful convention experiences for me because I did shy away from them for a long time and didn't feel super comfortable doing them. And a con was slowing down on a Sunday. You were walking around and you introduced yourself to us. I think you'd already met Jenna. Who's one of my best friends, and we were talking. You came in when we were talking about certain things that I struggle with, and I just started telling you about how I like some of the things that I went through, and you were like, "Well, that's really fucked up. I'm really sorry." That's what you said. You were like, "That's so fucked up. That's awful. I'm so sorry," and you gave me a hug. And it was just like, I was like, this woman's amazing. Like,
well, the story you told was brutal. It's a terrible situation.
Well, I mean, I just think like it was just, I think so much of this business, especially as women, is like having to feel like you have to perform, like we're talking about right now, and feel grateful and sit down and be quiet. And you were just like, no, fuck that. You know, like, and I'm learning every day, I think, that it's okay, but I still second guess myself. And it's just been amazing, like having your friendship that's just like, fuck off. You know, I'm serious. I really truly mean that. Like, sweet. And I don't know if that's like, I don't know where you get that from, if that's just being in the punk scene or just being awesome. But, or both.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't, that's for others to decide. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm all feeling blushy over here.
Oh,
I mean, not to add to that, but my wife Chelsea speaks the same way of you, and you know, it's probably somewhat influenced by your role in Child's Play too. But she always just considers you like the cool older sister. Like you definitely give off that energy of like cool older sibling who's looking out for you and telling you like, don't worry about the bullshit.
All right, I'll take that. In fact, I sometimes take it a little too far. There's been times when I've stepped in to protect women at shows when maybe they didn't necessarily need it, or
oh really?
There was a guy that was really not cool. I'm not going to mention him. He's an actor, but he was being really handsy with one of the assistants or the volunteers, and I took it upon myself to confront him about it. And I kind of feel like that wasn't my place to do.
Well, did the woman say that or like express
No.
any? Well, then. You know,
I just felt like I was being bossy pants, and you know.
No.
I think that's completely fine and commendable.
I think there are women who need that. You know, I do. I think I think especially as I would never speak for Chelsea, but I think as young women, you know, coming up in the business, we need that more than ever, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's probably why I did it. I think that sometimes people don't really know when it's okay to police their own boundaries, and sometimes somebody on the outside can see that boundary is being broken more clearly.
Yeah.
Especially for someone like a volunteer who's not even like a guest or like you know, an actor. They're going to have such more, there's a greater power imbalance of, oh, they're the guest. I kind of have to like acquiesce to whether they want. Yeah. You know, I don't want to stir any.
Yeah. And I think that's why I felt like I should do what
That's
I
good,
did,
yeah.
because exactly what you just said.
Yeah, because they might not want to just out of risk of their job.
Right.
Yeah.
That they're not getting paid for.
Yeah. yeah, their job. Their quotes. Yeah.
Has that always been something that you've led with in your career? Because you play really badass characters in general, or is that something that like as an introvert you've struggled with, like to find that voice?
No, I'm from Boston, and Boston gives you a lot. Boston comes with a lot of that, just sort of inherently. Like I always say, when you watch movies and the cliche New Yorker, it's rude and brash and angry. That New Yorkers aren't like that at all. New Yorkers are great. It's Bostonians that are like that. Bostonians are really bad fuckers, man. And so growing up there, you end up with an energy, and I was very, very punk rock, and in high school, and it was like in 1979, 80, 81, early, when it was really freaky thing to see somebody dressed like that back then.
Yeah.
And it invited a lot of hostility. So you learn to carry yourself in a certain way that you attempt to appear as intimidating as you can. So I always compared myself to the Fonz. Because I guess the legend of Fonzie was that he had one fight. One time he punched a guy once, and the guy was a lucky punch, and the guy got knocked out. Yeah. And he never had to fight anyone again because everyone thought that Fonzie was this tough badass. Yeah. But really not.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I say about myself. That I think people think I'm a lot tougher than I am, and I don't disabuse them of that notion because it just makes things easier for me. I don't get fucked with.
Yeah.
People think don't fuck with me. They don't. I mean, I'm old enough and sort of secure enough to come back if somebody tries, but people just don't.
I mean, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't want to fuck with you. Yeah.
And it's always been like that? Like,
yeah.
That's amazing.
And then, but there's the other side of that is most of my life when I was in my 20s, like I was 24 when I did Child's Play 2 and 26 when I did 90210. But I'm playing 16, 17-year-old characters. Yeah. And when I really was 17, I looked 12, and I was playing teenager. And so I have this other thing where people think, for most of my life, always thought of me as being very young and innocent and needing protection. Yeah. So there's really two very different perceptions of me. One that's I'm this adorable little innocent that doesn't, that dresses funny, and then the other one that I'm some badass that you shouldn't fuck with. And I don't know how they can both be applied to me, but
that's really interesting. I mean, but I got into like boxing and mixed martial arts because when I remember going in, and I have this little, I talk at an octave that only dogs register. Like I have this little voice, and like, which is very funny because I also was like very heavily involved in the punk scene, even though like I had pink hair. No one believes me, but like, I did. And people, and I remember getting into mixed martial arts, and I remember walking into my gym, and one of my trainers, Elon, looked at me and he goes, so have you always been like really athletic? Have you ever done this before? And I was like, no. And he was like, so you're athletic though, like you're a big fitness person? I was like, no, at the time. And he was like, oh, but like, you did sports growing up, right? No.
Yeah.
And he was like, so why do you want to do this? And I was like, I really want to feel like I have my power back. And he was like, okay. Yeah. And it's this idea that like,
did it work?
Yeah. Yeah, it did. And it does to this day. Like it's how I work through my shit. It's very like LA thing to say, like at the gym or whatever, but I really mean it. Like I will get a session in and I will be like, back to center, and maybe I'm in my, like, I got this rage now, but I think it's kind of fun to hold on to that rage in a little bit. It's like it's where the power comes from,
And if you carry yourself with that, people sense it too, and so they don't fuck with you.
Do you think of yourself as an angry person? Because I feel like you're someone who can see injustices and call it out and stuff, but do you think of your, like...
I would not call myself angry. I think angry is a negative word. I wouldn't say that I'm an angry person. I get mad at a lot of things. It's a very crazy world we're living in right now.
Yeah.
With a lot of bad shit going on and a lot of very stupid people in really powerful positions. But I wouldn't say I'm angry, no.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I feel like that's the healthiest way to like acknowledge all the fucked up stuff in the world, but like not let it, I don't know, define you or kind of corrupt your insides and just like focus on it.
If I had to pick a single word to say what I am, it would be sad.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Just at the state of things?
No, I think, like, I can't ever do any kind of a lead meditation, or I can't meditate at all because I'm so distracted. But when there's a lead meditation, which is sort of easier to get you into it, by the second deep breath, I'm crying. So I can't, I'm just like a mess. I can't It's fucked up. There's just a huge pit of sadness that is the core of who I am.
Is there like any reason for that? Like, or...
What's that?
Is there like a reason for that, or just the human condition?
No, I just think I think I'm too sensitive, and I have too much empathy, and I just think I don't know. I was in therapy 1,000 years ago, and he's like, I think you've been depressed your entire life. I don't think you know what it's like to not be depressed. I think your good day is somebody else's really bad day.
Oh my God.
Wow, jeez.
But I think I think there's something to that in like what probably makes you such a talented actress and creative, and like when everyone's like big sister, like because you have this ability to channel people's energy and to feel it, feel suffering on a real visceral level. It's kind of like a gift. I don't think I've met
It's not a gift.
Yeah,
I don't
curse,
know.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever met any creative who doesn't struggle with depression. We have so many people on the show and they talk about it where it's like, it's a struggle, because I don't think you can be a vessel for what it is to be human without having a profound understanding for that. And that's our job, right?
Yeah. But that's why I'm so grateful for people like Felissa Rose who just bring the fucking party.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
100%.
that energy is so appealing to me because it just is so uplifting.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's also like another like horror big sister for everyone who's just like, she's like, let me show you how we're going to do it. And it's going to be fine. And like everything is going to be great. And like, she's amazing.
She is. She hemorrhages energy. I don't know how she can stand up at the end of the night. She gives so much to every single person, and then she'll be like hosting the karaoke thing and singing with every. She just, I don't know how she manufactures that much energy, and then she's got kids. She goes home and has kids to raise. Like,
it is kind of wild.
And she's at a show every weekend.
She's at more conventions than Sean Clark, I feel.
I know.
She's the convention like mascot, mayor, whatever. If there was one, it would be like her. I don't think there's one that she doesn't know about or has done. And everybody once you've got Felissa, you're in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true. She's great.
So you talked about like not being distracted when you're trying to meditate. Are you a bad sleeper then too? We talk about this a lot on the show.
I fall asleep very easily. I don't stay asleep well. I get to sleep with my dogs. I have 2 dogs in the bed, and so I wake up a million times. And like most people, I think, the older I get, the more it happens. It's gotten worse as I've gotten older. Is, start thinking about the most upsetting things you can think of at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm going to outlive my parents. Which one of them is going to die first?
Yeah.
So for a really long time, I just had this abstract idea that I would die before my parents. Not because I'm like, live fast, die young kind of thing, but just this like, I just was always comforted by, like, when I died, they'd get my stuff and to be safe and have, like, sell my house and be, financially safe. And then, and it wasn't until I was like in my 40s that I realized I probably was going to outlive them, I mean, if things go the way nature intends, So I torture myself in the middle of the night thinking about
like just
money
nonsense.
problems and dark shit,
Yeah.
Do you have nightmares then?
No.
Oh,
That's
okay.
interesting.
So when you're asleep, you're good.
Yeah.
It's just the getting to sleep part when you're laying
it's
there.
when I wake back up again. It's bad.
Oh, okay. And once you wake up, are you able to fall back asleep, or are you kind of up for a while?
Sometimes no. Anxiety is a thing that's increased. It didn't used to bother me. It's like the last 5 years or so, anxiety sort of creeping into my life.
Well, we have this. I've talked about this, and it's interesting that you said this with meditation, and I've been kind of fascinated by it. Maybe we should have her on, the woman that I do this with, but. This concept of myofascial release has been like really healing for me, and the idea. Have you ever read The Body Keeps the Score? It's
oh yes, I have actually.
Yeah, and so it's kind of similar in theory to that concept with anxiety, and it's that similar to working out, right? Like every time, fascia is the bottom layer of skin, top layer of muscle in your body, and so every time you work out, you're tearing fascia, right? And just walking up the stairs, you're tearing fascia. And the way that fascia heals is in a way to facilitate the ability to do that activity again. So like when you're lifting weights, you're tearing fascia and you're sore the next day, but then the next day you do it again and it's easier because the fascia is healing in a way to facilitate that injury again. The same thing happens when you get stressed. That's the most recent study that they're finding. So it's like when you have a panic attack, for example, you're breathing and you're tense, you're also tearing fascia, but your body doesn't recognize the difference between like good pain and bad pain in that way. It's the same. Your brain does, but like your physical body doesn't. So it heals in a way to facilitate the ability to feel that anxiety again.
So you get better at having panic attacks?
Yes. And so you have to like work at resetting that. And so like that release that you're talking about when you're crying, that happens when you do, a lot of times when you do myofascial release, because, and you won't even realize it. They'll go like, okay, we're going to push your shoulders back. It might get a little emotional. And then all of a sudden you're like bawling. You're like, why? You know? And it's
that pigeon pose in yoga.
Yeah.
Sobbing.
Yeah.
Hips, you store stuff in your hips. You store muscle in your hips.
Yeah. And so it's just kind of like this thing that you have to like release in your body because it holds on to like, and I think now that I'm putting it together, like, do you think maybe you've worked, I obviously we have 90210, but like in genre, you've been this character that's had to exist in high states of stress. Do you think maybe in your process, your body has carried that with you?
No.
No, I'm looking at me like trying to like solve it for you.
No, it's older and deeper than that.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, so we've had a lot of Chucky alum on. I know you probably talked about.
We had Fiona.
Like,
who else did you have?
We had Fiona. We had Dawn. We had Nick and Tosca.
They're cute, aren't they?
They're cute.
Cute.
We also had Arkasha Stevenson. I don't know if she worked on Chucky. I know she worked on Channel Zero with Nick.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if she worked on Chucky though.
The First Omen director.
Yeah, I don't know.
So killer.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen The First Omen, have you seen it?
The First
Omen.
Yeah, of course.
Came out. No, not the original.
Oh, okay.
Omen.
It's very confusing.
Of course.
I know. Yeah. No. The
Okay. No, I have not.
Okay. Yeah. It just came out. It's very good.
Female director debut.
Okay.
Holy shit! Talk about female trauma captured.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Like we were gushing about. I don't want to give too much away, but it's like it's killer. So what has it? I know this is probably a question you get all the time, but like, what has it been like to be there almost from the very beginning? You know.
Well, it wasn't there for a gigantic swath of time. So, I did the second one. It was great. It was an early job for me, a huge job, really fun job. And then I didn't get back to it until 2017. So 89 to 2017.
Jeez.
Oh, wow. So that's true.
It was out of my life entirely for.
Yeah, because like especially back then, there's not really conventions for these, and they're doing the third one with like a whole new cast, and there's just not that. I don't think there's not like an internet community reaching out to you and like asking for interviews about that movie you did 5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, being brought back into it was that exciting?
Yeah. What's really crazy is I did 90210. I played a 17-year-old character in 90210. And in 2019, they did a reboot of that and brought me back. And so I played the same character. Actually, not really. I played my fictionalized version of myself. But to revisit that sort of that family and that character, and then have 2 years later to do it again with Chucky, really unusual for someone to play a character at 17 and at 50. And to do it twice in 2 years is incredible. But I've known Jennifer Tilly and Dawn. I know Jennifer before either one of us ever did a Chucky. So,
oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I did a play downtown LA, and she was in a different play, but we shared a dressing room, and her character in her play was in lingerie, like a bustier and stockings and stilettos, and she looked ridiculous in this outfit. So when her play ended early, I stole the bustier from her costume because I was like, I need to look like Jennifer Tilly because that's my talk about goals, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, did not have anything you need to fill that bustier, so it didn't work. It just turned into powder in my underwear drawer, like an old, like an old sports bra. But I've known Jennifer forever though, and Dawn, we stayed friends after that, and I've known Alex Vincent since he was 8 years old. So it's a real family. It's literally with Brad and Fiona, and in the earlier movies, Kevin Yeager, who was the head puppeteer, is married to Catherine Hicks, who's the mom in the first movie.
Oh, right.
So it's like literally family and figuratively family. And Alex is my brother from another mother. Alex, I talk to him almost every day. So
yeah, I think it's clear anyone who goes to these conventions where the two of you are, you're always seated next to each other. It's very obvious how close you guys are. Yeah. And was that something that maintained throughout all those years, or did you reconnect?
No, no, because he was 8.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was 24.
They had been best friends. He was writing broken crayon letters.
Yeah. So no, I did not I got back in touch with him at a con. It was in like 2010, I think.
Oh, okay. So that pretty kind of early on for conventions. They weren't as big as they are now.
He's been doing them for 10 years before that. He's been he's the OG of horror cons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I went to, I remember Motor City Comic Con in Detroit, which wasn't even like a horror convention, it's a comic convention. That was like 2006, maybe. And yeah, just reflecting on how small that was compared to what they are now is an entirely different world.
They're behemoths. And the franchises, in my opinion, that like really run it are Scream and Chucky. Like, I don't think I've ever been to one where there's not a massive fan presence around the two of them.
Yeah.
Terrifier. There's so many arts around.
I mean, I
that's true. There's always arts running around.
That's new. Like, and I think like what people also don't like, I think like realize like it's been like a slow build. Like, maybe you know this too from you know kind of early days of Chucky to now, but like in the beginning, like at my very first horror conventions where I met James, and like it was, I mean, we did fine, but it wasn't like this big.
Well, that was
thing.
Before Terrifier 2.
That's true. I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
There were people. That's actually true. There were people dressed up and stuff. That was all but it's just been like this like slow, gradual thing. You know, we were kind of everyone like people would show up at the conventions dressed up as us and stuff in the beginning, and everyone was like, "Who the hell are these guys?" Like it wasn't like it is now, where like everyone's like, "Oh yeah," like you know that's been a a more recent thing with the theatrical release of the second film.
Yeah, but still there it is, and so I would say 8 out of 10 black T-shirts in any con these days is a Terrifier shirt.
It's very well merchandised, you know.
And so is Chucky. So Chucky's like a close second in that.
Yeah.
We always see tons of people dressed as slutty Chucky, baby Chucky, all kinds of Chuckies.
Puppy Chuckies.
Yeah. Yes. Indeed.
Puppy Chuckies.
I've got a puppy Chucky car.
That was part of our. We posted this in our clip. You dressed your dog up.
My dog, yeah, Molly.
Yeah,
it was a little Chucky.
I've got a little Chucky outfit for my dog too.
I mean, does it like? Well, the other thing I loved about your house is, I mean, this is everybody's, but it was a when Damien came to my apartment out here in LA, he came in and he looked around. And he goes, "There's no Terrifier stuff on the walls." Like, I know, Damien. I live here.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, right?
and like we were really good friends, you know. And when I was in your house, it was kind of like that too. It's like it was like most like you have your things, but it's like how much Chucky stuff do you have in your collection? Like you don't have Chucky stuff everywhere. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It felt like your house is is actually beautiful and has all these amazing things to look at, but like your collection is limited in Chucky display.
I had none until I started doing Chucky conventions. I had no Chucky anything. I got 2 Child's Play 2 posters framed. They're beautiful ones. The Mondo, and I'm in them posters, and so I don't make I don't make the cut in most of the Child's Play 2 posters. You know, there's 2 beautiful ones so that I
really
have.
Oh, but Kyle is
the Shout Factory one is the Shout Factory poster is fucking great.
Yeah.
It's my character in the cool outfit with the hat.
Yeah.
A cigarette and a knife and like none
your
of
your hat, your personal hat.
My
And
personal
you
hat.
you have that hat. That's true. That is your personal hat.
Yeah.
I got to put it on. I felt so cool.
Wow.
Spencer demanded to try it on.
Yeah. We both put it on. We were like,
course.
"What is this?"
Yeah.
Cool. James, how much do you love Factor meals?
I love Factor meals because I don't have time, Catherine. Time is something that
you don't have it.
It just slips their way through my fingers every day, and I think about how much time is leaving me, and I'm like, oh, but I have to eat to sustain myself, and I don't have time to make food.
There's just too many minutes in the day. You're having an existential crisis. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to do it all. And
exactly, but I do have 2 minutes
to make a Factor meal?
To put it in the microwave. It comes pre-made. It's delicious. It's healthy. It's specified to your dietary needs.
That's
We're
right.
Big into fitness.
I've got them. Yeah, my trainer is like, hey man, you gotta stop eating all these high fat things. You gotta eat better.
He's
and I'm like,
eat the Factor meals.
Don't worry, I got Factor.
And so it works out. So if you want to try Factor yourself, or if you're just too busy, or you forget to eat like I do, it's like a neurological thing. I feel like I don't.
You gotta remember to eat.
I know. I feel like I don't feel hunger. This is like a real thing.
Oh yeah.
I think I have a neurological imbalance where I don't feel hunger.
Oh no.
I don't know. It's like an evolutionary mechanism. But anyway, thanks to Factor meals, I don't have to worry about that, about accidentally killing myself from starvation. I can just use Factor. And if you want to use Factor and support the show, you can go to factormeals.com/screamdreams50 and use the code screamdreams50.
Why is it 50?
Because 50% off.
That's right.
50% off to get, or no, it's not. That's a lie. Wait, actually, yes, it is. 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box. So so it's like a double whammy.
That's
it's like Scream Dreams 50, you get 50 and then 20. What's that? That's 70 really when you think about it.
That's not math, but but that first one is half off.
It is half off.
Which is great.
So if you want to support the show, head to factormeals.com/screamdreams50 and use the code screamdreams50 to get 50% off your first box and then 20% off your next box. That's code
screamdreams50
at
screamdreams50 factor.com
factor.com/screamdreams50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next box while your subscription is active. Don't starve to death. Get Factor meals.
Do it.
You know what's a nightmare? Dehydration.
Yeah. You know what's an even worse nightmare? Plastic pollution.
That's why we love Liquid Death and their evil mission to murder your thirst and kill plastic pollution.
That's right. Their aluminum cans are as metal as they get. So pick some up today because we all need something refreshing to reach for when we wake up from a nightmare.
It's true. Cheers.
Oh, you know what it's like when you do a con and you get tagged on 5,000 photographs.
Right, and it's like that con lighting. It's like, oh, that
that's
overhead
the worst
fluorescent
lighting in the
Breaking
world.
fluorescent light.
That's the worst lighting in the world. Like everybody looks hideous in that.
It's not good. And you're tagged on every single one.
Yeah.
So you're just flooded with hideous photographs of yourself.
Oh, cool, great.
And also, like, you've been traveling. You're not
you're often
sleeping,
tired.
You're in
You're
like
hungover.
a weird place. You're in like a weird place with like not your stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
It's always in the wrong time. It's always on the East Coast, too. It's always in the wrong time zone.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
It's not. Ugh. I think some people use ring lights at their.
I cannot admit to that level of vanity.
I don't know. I mean, I've never done that. I'm too lazy. I don't even like checking a bag. So like, if I have to bring extra shit, I'm already out. But like, I don't hate them for it. I get it.
I just can't admit that I'm not that vain. I just got to live with the ugly photos. I don't blame them for doing it, but I would never do it.
I don't know if it helps.
Of course it helps. Ring lights are amazing.
But like, I think.
No, it helps.
It helps.
I think it helps.
I think it helps, but like, is it that big of a difference?
Yeah.
With the bright flooded
when you're an old bitch like me, yeah, yeah, it helps a lot.
Well, we have to wrap up. We love having you, Christine. You are so beloved by everyone, especially us. If this hasn't gassed you up, I'm going to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you sounded more like a wrap up than a question. I'm sorry.
You ask about the nightlight.
What's your nightlight?
She doesn't know what that means.
Oh, I'm sorry. A nightlight is what keeps you going when you're the fears of the world.
We ask everybody this. You're being so aggressive.
I'm sorry.
This is okay.
What's the question?
What keeps you going in the fears of the world?
What keeps me going?
So yeah, like we ask people what their nightlight is. He's like, what makes you happy?
Fucking tell me what keeps you going in the fears of the world.
No, so basically, like
red wine.
Red wine. That's it. Because basically, that's the thing is amidst all the darkness, all the nightmares, all the shit that makes you want to cry and gets out. What's the thing that's like, I'm gonna keep this light at the end of the tunnel? What's the nightlight that tells you that everything's gonna be okay?
at the risk of sounding super hokey, I always think I'm sort of a misanthrope that I don't like people, but I really do like people, and I have a great faith in them. The proof that people don't all suck is how well they rally when shit hits the fan, and I'm always fascinated that as a species, we keep, not in every country I suppose, but modern, like this country, we keep track of every single person, and if they go missing, we don't stop looking until we find them. It's a really weird thing. It's just one fucking person of billions, literally. Who cares? But the whole city gets together and search parties, and I think that there's something really lovely about that people don't give up on even total strangers, and it's such a really weird thing that we do, that everybody's considered important.
I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
so cool.
that. That's true.
That's a good
That
observation.
is. I wonder if, that's true, that we just decide someone's missing and we must find them.
Yeah.
Like, even like spiritually, if you're missing, we will bring you home.
Yeah. Well, and that's, then you remember the quote that is said to somebody, which is a meme I saw that just said, "We are all just walking each other home."
I love that.
Yeah. So I think I have sort of a faith in people.
That's good.
That is not really give me a lot of evidence that I should have it these days because of the state of the political climate in this country, but it's discouraging.
I saw this thing that stayed with me for a long time, and it was this image of like waves, like from an aerial shot of the ocean, and it said that the tide is always just trying to bring you home. You know, because even though it'll pull you all the way back out, it always pushes you back.
Dumps your bloated fucking half-eaten body on the shore eventually.
Eventually, exactly. So even amidst all the terrible things, you will wash up bloated, half-eaten on the shore.
Mm-hmm. And then they'll find you.
And then it's okay, because we'll have found them. At least we'll know.
Yeah.
We must know, and we'll know. And so on that note, if you disappear, we will, much like
Liam Neeson.
Much like Liam Neeson,
you.
this has come full circle. If you disappear, we will find you. Where can the people find you? If they want to hear more about your projects, if they just want to...
Instagram, but I had the website, Bathing Book, like take a bath, bathingbook.com. I wrote a novel, and that's linked there. It's on Amazon, and my short film is there, and all the links to everything else is there, but Instagram is the sort of my home.
I saw that there's a bit of a campaign to get Chucky renewed. Is that?
Well, yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I think it's still unknown right now, but
it's unknown to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jennifer Dawn posted that really cute thing with the Chucky pillow, hugging the Chucky, Dawn Mancini's post.
So you guys can do that if you want to, and campaign to see more Christine in Chucky and elsewhere.
Where the fuck is Kyle?
There and
campaign.
elsewhere. I know, it's important. Until next time, I'm Catherine Corcoran.
Yeah, to think about that. I'm James H.
No, I was going to say something. We do 3 of these. At the end, it's not there.
You're still Catherine Corcoran.
I know. Listen.
Is she?
Is that, am I though? I mean, really, I could be the cardboard cutout of Barbara that we also have.
Well, on behalf of all the cardboard cutouts, this has been Scream Dreams. Be sure to leave the light on.
We will find you.
Cardboard cutout talk.
Who let the cutout talk?